Hi everybody, I'm Jasmine Navarro, Certified Wellbeing Expert, working with educational institutions and companies, helping them support their family wellbeing challenges. And as you know, every week I interview different experts who make a difference to people's lives. And today I'm super excited to be interviewing Theodora. Hi Theodora.
Hi Jasmine. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's such an honor to be talking to you today.
Thank you so much for coming on. I've been waiting for this for ages. We planned this such a long time ago.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about yourself and what you do?
So yeah, what do I do from all the stuff I'm doing? So mainly I'm a teacher trainer and I have my own language school in Greece. And lately I started coaching colleagues because I started working with a coach for myself and I saw the huge transformation that was happening in my life.
Yeah.
So then I started equipping myself with different tools, with a toolkit that could help other people as well. And it worked. I have worked with lots of teenagers. I have worked with lots of educators, and we've seen amazing results in their lives. So the programs I have been developing, they are evolving every time I teach them and I coach people. So it's a thing that's going on continuously.
Amazing. I'm so excited to be talking to you. Let me just welcome our guest. Hi, Nora. How are you doing? Lovely to see you. Nora was saying she was looking forward to this one. So thank you so much for coming. And thank you everybody else who's joining. If you have any questions about team resilience or self-mastery, please feel free to drop a message in the comments or on the post. We'll be happy to hear from you. Yes. So Theodora, I'm very excited about this. So I think it's such an important topic. So you chose teen resilience and self-mastery, which I think is fabulous. Can you tell us, like, what does this mean and why did you choose it for today?
I'll start with the why, and it might have been because of my personal journey as a teenager and all the obstacles and struggles I was facing as a teenager. And it would have been amazing if I had met a person that could coach me at that time, right? My life.
How amazing.
My life would have been totally different and it would have saved me a lot of time and energy.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm doing right now for the teenagers I'm working with and the trainings I do with the teachers. I equip them with these tools so they can navigate life themselves, first of all, because if we, the educators, cannot navigate our life and work on ourselves, then we cannot teach anybody else to do it. Yes. So this journey started with my own students and the struggles I was seeing in my own classes. So this is my lab. I have been teaching for all my life, I think.
Yeah.
And I was seeing them. I was trying to teach them English, but I would see that they would struggle with all sorts of things. And all these conversations would come up in class, and I would say, "That's not the time. This can wait." And of course, these issues cannot wait because teenagers are falling through the cracks, right?
Yes.
I would, at some point, after I started working on myself with a coach here in Greece, I started introducing some of these questions and these insights we were doing with my coach. And I saw a huge shift in my students' interest, engagement, motivation. And they would start asking me questions and say, we want more of this and more of this. Wow. And then we would start giving time to this, and this would grow and give birth to other insights and other. And we saw a huge transformation in my classes with my students.
So it's so true. Sorry to interrupt. It's so true, isn't it? One insight leads to another insight, which leads to another one.
Exactly. To 10 other ones.
To
10 other ones.
No, it's your story is similar to mine, actually. I think as a teacher, like, we can learn so much through this, and I think we've got so much experience. But what you mentioned, I know you've got a lot of teaching experience, but what problems and challenges did you see that your teenagers had in the classroom?
Yeah, I would start with social anxiety.
Yeah.
not so much with performance anxiety,
okay,
but more with social anxiety. So what I see with my students, and especially now that they can compare themselves to anyone through the social media, like in
yes,
the past, when I was young, we wouldn't compare ourselves to anyone else than our classmates
oh yeah,
or the
yeah,
people around in the school. But now this comparison crisis extends way beyond our immediate
yeah,
environment, right? So they compare themselves to teenagers from other countries, from other
oh really,
cultures.
wow,
Yeah, doesn't it happen with all teenagers? So they go on TikTok, they go on social media, and they see all these other teenagers are achieving this or that, and they compare themselves and say, "Who am I? What am I doing? Am I late? Am I early? What should
yeah,
I be doing with my life? I haven't done anything yet, and they're only 16, and they think they haven't done anything yet, right?" So this not enoughness starts really, really early on from the external environment, not only
yeah,
from the family. At the same time, they have the family saying, "That's not enough. You are
oh
not enough."
yeah,
And
you need
that's,
to do more. You need to do more.
you need
Yeah,
to do more. Like 19 is good, but what about the student who got 20? What did they do? You could do it as well. Why not you?
the pressure.
Yeah. And even if you get that 20, still, will you be able to keep it next year? Again, this doesn't end. This doesn't stop. And this is the performance anxiety I see. Like, how do I perform better so I can please others, not myself? They're not doing it for themselves. So this puts these two things, social anxiety and um, performance anxiety, put a lot of pressure early on in our kids.
God, we don't need the pressure, do we? At that age,
Yeah,
especially, there's going to be enough when you
yeah,
get older. Yeah,
exactly. And they need tools to navigate life because they starting life with being less off early on, right?
yeah.
And they
And
they
what
see,
happened? Yeah,
yeah,
carry on. No, carry on.
yeah, they see it. It's not only the parents that are reminding them that they're less off. They see it from so many other sources that they're less off, and they believe it.
Yeah, and the more they believe that, the less they believe in themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. And it might take them 3 decades to figure it out, or maybe never, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. And it's funny, isn't it, as you say that, because it can be a long journey if you don't have the tools and techniques and you have to learn the hard way, or like you said, or you might never learn.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot what I was going to say actually. but yeah, no, it's tragic actually. I think it's tragic that especially nowadays when you see, there's so much more awareness, but then there's still so much more suffering, and you realize,
Yeah.
because just as we're learning, we're becoming self-aware, more and more self-aware, you assume that other people are, but they're not, are they? Sometimes I'm so amazed when I talk to students or even other colleagues, and they don't have this self-awareness, and I'm like, I thought everybody
Yeah.
knew it by now. But let's see what Nora says. So Nora says, I was totally raised that 19 isn't enough and I need to get 20. Wow. Now I avoid that very consciously with my kids. But I still have the impression that my son puts himself under pressure. Pressure comes from comparison in school and kids who bully about grades. Wow.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess, like you said, different cultures maybe have different problems, but at the end, it all comes down to the same outcome: lack of confidence, lack of self
Yeah.
belief.
And because Nora had it in her programming, she might be saying one word or two words to her son without realizing it, and
Yes.
then the son gets that pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Or Nora might be still be doing it on herself. So what is she reflecting? What is she modeling for her son?
It's habit. It's
So
familiar,
my
maybe.
advice to Nora would be to model what she wants to see in her son, to become what she wants to see in her son.
The
And
comparison in schools, it's not enough from other kids, though I do everything as a parent to lift off the pressure. we are in an international school in Germany. Thank you so much, Nora. And thank you
Thank
so much for sharing, because I think, like, as we know, Theodora, I'm sure you're aware of as well, like how common this is. The social anxiety, it's so common, and we need parents, we need to have more conversations like this, because we can just share tips and tricks. Possibly, I'm a coach, I'm trying to recover from that. Yeah, that's all we can do is work on ourselves. But no, thank you so much, Nora. We really appreciate you sharing, because your comment could have helped somebody else.
And thank you for sharing your vulnerability, Nora. We've both been there. I have two sons myself as well, and we've all been there, right? We have all navigated situations like this. And what I have figured out for myself is to become what I'm preaching, what I'm teaching others. First, I need to become that, and then others will say, how did you do that? And this is how I got so many clients, because they said, how did you do that? Not because
they see it.
Yeah.
It's not you preaching to people saying you need to do this, you need to do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Unsolicited advice. Nobody wants.
I never had the time to go into sales conversations, because I always had clients coming in and saying, how did you do that?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people want to see it. People want to see it. Exactly. And Nora says, with my daughter, it's social anxiety about looks and TikTok and all. Exactly. We walk our talk. Yeah. So true. So, Theodora, I'm sure you've got many tips and tricks, and I know you're a coach and you're a therapist as well, aren't you? So tell us, how do you help and support these teens first in the classroom? Like, how do you?
It's really important to start with a couple of techniques that will develop your skill set as a teacher. Yes. And then you'll be able to develop your students' skill set as well. And my number one priority and the number one thing I do in my trainings is active listening.
Yeah.
So I have to teach everybody how to listen actively. And this is what I demonstrate myself when I talk with somebody, when I have a conversation with somebody. So even in the training sessions, I make sure I listen actively and I respond. So I demonstrate first, and then
what is active listening? For viewers who might not be aware of active listening, what actually is active listening? Because some people think that they're listening, but they're not.
Exactly. So active listening is listening, staying silent, and instead of preparing what you're going to say next, picking all these keywords and listening between the words, like reading between the lines in a book. I have developed this skill to listen between the words. What program is in everybody's head? So when they finish what they're saying, I start talking to them back with the words they were using. And I see the triggers that they get. Are they happy with the words that I reflect back to them or not? If they're not happy, it means that they're unconsciously saying words that they are not supposed to be saying to themselves.
Wow.
So it's very implicit, but it's very powerful. So this is what I teach teachers to do, but also teenagers. And teenagers are very, very effective in that. Once they get it, they know how to do it.
And of course, the younger you are, the quicker that you learn all of these things.
Exactly. And I think it's been transformational for their life, for their relationships with their friends. They have made decisions to quit friendships that were toxic. And for a 16-year-old teenager to say, I'm going to quit this friendship, is a very powerful decision. Wow. It's not a light decision, right?
No. And I think it's great that you demonstrate it, because we need to see, don't we? We need to see exactly how to do these things. And I do believe, the more you active listen to other people, they're going to do the same back to you, probably automatically.
Yeah.
And whatever you want to see, you need to do. Yeah.
And after I finish the process of demonstration, I ask them, how did you feel? And they say, I felt heard. I felt you understood me. And I say, but I didn't say anything yet. And they say, but I felt that you understood me. And the reason is that I was just present there listening.
Amazing. Yeah, because you can feel it. You can feel if somebody's listening to you. They could just be looking at you, but they're thinking about something else, like their problems or whatever. And you can sense it. You can sense if somebody's not really there.
Yeah.
And you can also sense when they are there, and it feels nice, doesn't it? Because like you said, you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel acknowledged, you feel important, you feel like, yeah, I am worthy, I am enough. It helps with all of those things.
Yeah. So imagine a teenager in that context.
Exactly.
They feel they had never been heard before. Never. Like, I'm the first person that listened to them in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Nice.
I build rapport in an instant, like in 10 minutes.
Of course. Of course. And respect, because it shows you respect them.
Yeah.
And like anyone, when they feel respected, they're going to respect you back.
Yeah, exactly. I am the first to respect them. And they get to choose whether they're going to respect me or not. But I am the first to respect them. I don't demand respect so that I respect them. I don't expect anything from them. And they feel it.
Yeah, and that's what, like, every time I tell people I work with teenagers, they always say, oh, that must be so hard, that must be this, that must be that. But I think, well, no, not actually. If you respect teenagers, it's not, of course, if you go into the classroom and start telling them what to do and this, that, and the other, of course, it's going to be different. You have to build that relationship. But no, that's brilliant. Active listening, number one. What else do you do?
What else I do is I start with active listening, and in this active listening process, I listen with one intention. So I'm going to stay a little bit more on active listening.
Yeah.
I listen with one intention, and the intention is not to correct, it's not to guide, it's not to facilitate. My intention is only one. My intention is to connect, to feel our hearts connected.
Yeah.
Once we get there, no matter what I'm teaching, they're there. We are connected.
Yeah.
We don't disconnect ever. Even if we are hundreds of miles, thousands of miles apart, we are connected forever.
Yeah.
And so the second phase starts with building this building the self from within and nurturing that need of connection, which for me is a very fundamental need.
Yeah,
If that's
definitely.
not met, then I will go out there looking for validation.
Yes.
I will go out there looking for external validation. And I think that's the number one addiction in our days, external validation. I think each and every one of us is addicted to that. How do I get external validation so I can feel better in myself?
Yeah.
So my job is to reverse that, to build internal validation so that they feel that I'm connected to myself.
Yeah.
And I'm in the best pathway possible for me, for my journey right now.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, I'm safe, which is a very fundamental need. I'm significant, right? I matter.
Yeah.
I'm connected. I'm lovable.
Amazing.
Right? So the moment they start feeling and integrating that, there are no mistakes after that.
I know.
No mistakes.
Yeah.
You can't get anything wrong after that.
And you think
can't
it's
get wrong decision making for like job wise. You won't make wrong decisions with a partner. You just won't make wrong decisions, because every time you make one decision, you realize that's okay. That might have been wrong. I change direction. I don't stay there to prove that I haven't made a mistake, because this is another
the whole journey of living, being alive,
Yeah, that's the other thing that we all suffer from. How do I admit to myself that I made a mistake with this partner? I have to fix it. I cannot admit that I made a mistake. No, you have to admit it. You might have made a mistake.
Yeah. And how do you bring that? How do you bring that into the classroom with the teenagers about making mistakes? Because that's a really important point as well, isn't it?
For this one, you have to go back. You have to go back in time and see all the other times you made a mistake and realize, was it a mistake or something else? Was it a mistake or a blessing in disguise?
Yeah. What did you learn? Yeah.
So once they understand that it wasn't a mistake, but it was a blessing in the end, they say, oh my God, that any mistake is a blessing. And then that's an open, like it opens a new doorway for them, a new gate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I think it's really important what you're saying, and it always seems simple once we know it, but if you don't know it, you can quite easily not do it, and
Yeah.
things are more difficult. So we've got active listening and the power of connection. And I think you're right. I completely agree with everything you're saying as well. Once you have that connection with your students or anyone, for example, because you've built in that respect, the connection. There's so many things. Foundation of a healthy relationship. Once you have that, and also you can make mistakes as well because you've got the trust there already. Exactly. So I think that's really important. Brilliant. What else do you do to help teenagers become resilient?
Building trust is another pillar of this whole program. Building trust in the sense that not that I trust you that you will succeed, that I trust you that whatever comes, you will face it. You will see the blessing out of it. And I trust.
Be okay. Yeah, whatever happens, you will be okay.
Yes. So, and because in social emotional learning, we give them the tools and you are going to do this and this and that. I have changed this a little bit. And instead of telling them you will do this, this, and that, I say, what would you do?
Yes. Brilliant. Open questions.
So we study other study cases, other cases of people, or we have this interaction program in the class. And we bring one study case at the table and we act as a group, as a therapy group.
Yeah.
And we find solutions, we find strategies of how this person should move ahead.
Okay.
So instead of me going out there and finding the tools, they are building their own tools on the go. They're testing them, trying them, coming back, saying, this didn't work. We have to tweak it a little bit, change it. Next time, feedback again, back and forth, back and forth.
And they've got the support of the group as well, which sounds like you've created that safe space for them to share learnings in a safe environment. So they probably feel relaxed.
Yeah.
And they can be more creative as well. Yeah.
And they're teenagers from different parts of the world, but still they can connect within 10 minutes from the building report system I have. They can still connect. And after one session, they all know each other and they feel that I can trust this person.
Yes.
Without me saying that you have to trust or you have to connect or you have to do this. Or in this class, we're doing this because we love each other. No, we don't say that. It just happens.
Of course. Yeah, exactly. You can't force it. You can't force it. Yeah. And that's really, really important. And I think, that's fundamental as well.
And what you said before, that everybody should know that. I think everybody does. On a level. Yes. Yeah. The thing is, how do I implement it? How do I integrate it?
Okay.
For myself.
Yeah.
And how do I implement it? Because there is no lack of information out there. You can find all the resources, all the articles, all the books. I mean, everybody has access to all those brilliant videos.
Exactly. It's too overwhelming. So what would you say to parents and teachers who are watching now and maybe their teenager, they've noticed is maybe struggling with self-confidence, or they just feel like they want to give the teenagers a boost, self-confidence boost? What would you say is the first step?
So the first step, I would say, build on that connection. this is the foundational need. Like below everything else, what we are looking for is connection, and what we are avoiding is our biggest fear, let's say, is rejection.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if
no
we
one
get
wants to be rejected.
say it again.
No one wants to be rejected. But I think, again, once you work on yourself enough, you realize that the rejection could be a blessing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you feel this rejection on a daily basis by your mother or your father in the house,
Or yourself.
it cannot be. Yes, it becomes internal.
Yes.
Like what we are saying to our kids when they're young becomes their self-talk
Totally.
when they grow older.
Totally. Totally.
So my self-talk comes from my mother and my father, unless I have reversed it, unless I have worked on myself and
Inner
seen.
work, deep inner work. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, number one step for a parent would be to try and connect. And the best way to connect is one, and it's very simple, and it's free.
Good. We like those ones. Yeah.
And it's a hug.
Oh.
And science says that it takes about 20 seconds for our bodies, our brains to release oxytocin and feel good and feel connected. But I have another rule.
Okay.
I say hug until the kid says stop.
Wow.
That's my rule. Until the kid says,
like
I'm not hungry anymore.
I love that.
And next day again, feed them again, nurture them. It's like watering them, watering their hearts with a hug. Simple as that.
Amazing.
Like
That's such a nice tip.
Even if they cannot afford a coach or somebody who can guide them or mentor them, they can still do this. And now they know, right? Now they know. Now if they don't do it, it's another thing. And a reason I can think of why somebody wouldn't hug their kids is because they haven't received that as a kid. So they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So I have a tip for this, if I can
Tell
share.
us. Yes.
I start hugging myself,
Oh,
nurturing myself. Yes, like this.
Yeah.
Or this, right? And once I feel
I never heard of that one before.
Yeah, it's a soothing technique as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And once I get there, once I release some of the like surface trauma, not really deep trauma, it cannot happen just like that with the soothing technique.
Okay.
But once I release my trauma and I start working on myself, if I can hug myself, then I can hug somebody else. If I don't know how to hug myself, if I don't know how to hug my kid, I can ask my kid to hug me, right? I can always be vulnerable. So just be vulnerable if you're a parent and you feel that you haven't hugged your kids enough. It's never too late. Even if your kid is 25, it's never too late. You can always start. It's a healing process for the hugger as well, for the parent as well.
You know what? I've interviewed so many experts about this, and I think you're the first person who's actually said that. And I think, what great advice, because it doesn't cost anything.
It doesn't cost anything.
It's simple, it's natural, it feels nice. And you're right, the oxytocin is released. And
yeah,
I mean, what a great piece of advice.
You feel the connection instantly. And I test this with my students as well when they're really angry. I tell them, if they're young ones, and I tell them, come here, I'm going to give you a hug. And they say, no, I don't want a hug. And they go and sit on their chair. What happens instantly is that you see this drop in their shoulders and like, whew, it's oxytocin is released because in their mind's eye, they have like rehearsed the hug.
Oh, even if you didn't give them a hug, they felt it anyway.
Even if they didn't accept the hug, oxytocin is released.
Wow.
Because
sometimes you can't hug students.
They have demonstrated the hug. They have rehearsed the hug in their head. So you see this release instantly in like within seconds.
Because obviously some countries, as a teacher, it's just not right to hug the students anyway. It's not allowed.
I know.
But thinking about it, you can even say, imagine a hug. I love that. Wow, visualizing a hug is just the same. Wow, that's so powerful. Thank you so much, Theodora, for coming on and sharing these tips. And Nora said, this is so powerful. It is. And it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Theodora. I mean, of course, I want to know more about this, but we'll have to do another live. But thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to try this actually with my nieces. But
I'd like to get the feedback.
I will. Is there anything else you want to say before we go?
Just keep hugging each other until you practice it well enough and we get all our traumas released, right? Because this could be the thing. This could be enough. And if you are a teacher, work on yourself before you try to mentor others. Work on yourself as much as you can. Hug yourself, love yourself, meet these needs internally. And then this is just going to be reflected to your students.
Exactly.
The work is really easy afterwards.
Yes. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Theodora. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody else who's joined. If you have any questions or comments, please message Theodora directly or on the post. And Theodora, if you can share all of your links to website, Instagram on the original LinkedIn post, and then people can contact you easily that way. And I will see everybody next week.